Come on, Bitsy.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is the 25th of July. It's 11 a.m. Central European Time. I am live, as always. This is not a recording. This is not an AI voice. What has happened to the markets? Well, Bitcoin has had a retracement, as has Ethereum. We are going to go through that. I did tweet out this morning, I did put out a message on Telegram. I made a video on Friday last week giving you some price targets for where Ethereum could go if we saw a repetition of what happened with Bitcoin. I didn't think it was going to play out. I had a 30% chance it was going to play out. It appears to be playing out in front of our eyes. We are going to have a look at that today. Good morning, Peter, Chris, Mags, Hidden, everybody in chat. Kishan is in chat. Good morning to you all. Remember, if you are new here, we stream 7 times a week, Monday to Friday during the summer. We don't do Saturdays, it's just too hot. And then normally Monday and Thursday, but this week, Tuesday and Friday, the Oracle will be streaming as well. So make sure to give us a follow. As you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, we are 418 followers away from 150,000 followers. Yes, can you believe it? The goal was to get there by the end of July. If we do it today or tomorrow, we'll have done it 5 days early, which obviously is a very positive sign. So what are we going to go through today? We're going to have a look at some X-Files, the markets, of course, the no fizzle. I don't know what that means. We'll have a look at that. Minor victory, the options expiry tomorrow. Remember, the last Friday of every month is options expiry. So this will be the last Friday of July. Options will expire. What can we expect from that? We're going to look at a rebrand on Solana. We're going to have a look at another meme coin. In chat just before the show, Mags was asking what meme coin he could invest in. We're going to have a look at Karma and see whether that's a good choice. Been catching up for a coin, found one that could, yeah, okay. Radium is a very good coin, yep. And Agridex. Agridex is something I only spotted yesterday. It's another Solana project, but this time it's to do with agriculture. So we're going to have a look at that. So it's I would say it's a varied show today. And the headline of the show is Hold That Bull Market Support Band. That is the sole objective of the next few days, and I'm going to explain why when we go through Bitcoin. Remember, if you are in chat, say hello, smash the like button, let me know you're there. If you've got any questions, ask away. There is a poll question today, and this might sound a little bit negative considering we're at $3,170 for Ethereum, but the question is, can we hold $3,000 on Ethereum? So far, yes, 33%, no, 67%. I think your sentiment is the same as mine. And when we get to the charts later, I will explain in full detail why I think we could be in for a rocky week. I don't think, by the way, that we are going to see weeks and weeks and weeks of this. I do think it will be quicker and faster and sharper than Bitcoin. Bitcoin took, I think, 3 or 4 weeks. I don't think we're going to see the same with Ethereum, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Yes, hello, Peter. So then, market cap is coming in down 4%, 2.31 trillion. Volume is just under 100 billion. Bitcoin and Ethereum domination is still coming in 71%. That hasn't changed. Bitcoin 64.3, it bounced off 64 about half an hour ago. Ethereum is coming in 31.74. One other thing to add, because we've had the correction, I have a lot more charts to look at. I am going to look at the liquidation data for you. I'm going to look at Bitcoin dominance. I'm going to look at ETH, Bitcoin, and Solana Bitcoin just to show you where we are. So what's coming in the positive? Really nothing. Pi by a touch, and that is it. When you see the stable coins near the top of the 24-hour gainers, you know it is painful. Will it go 10% lower? If we go to where I'm expecting it to go to, Peter, potentially we could go 15% lower. So losers then: Mu, Ethena, Ronin, Listadao, Stark, Helium, Celestia. It's a bloodbath. Core, ENS, Optimism, everything associated with Ethereum has wet that bed. Nothing positive to talk about. So we're going to move on with the news, and then I'm going to look at some charts. Again, when these things happen, everything gets thrown out the window. There's a load more stuff for me to throw into the charts and what we're talking about. So we might overrun, we might cut. Stop losses, where we're going, we don't need stop losses. If you are one of those people that doesn't use stop losses, shame on yourself and look in the mirror. Everybody should be using stop losses, especially if you're using leverage in this market. The Mt. Gox funds, again, I said probably 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, when the Mt. Gox distributions were being sent out, we would not see mass selling, because when there was a straw poll taken, 66 or 75% of those asked have said that they would hodl. Remember, these are the OGs. These are the OGs from 2014. They're not going to sell. So, of course, Mt. Gox is now distributing upon distributing. That's really the last big headache for Bitcoin and Ethereum from the old times, you know, from pre-ETF times, from pre-2021 times. It's really the biggest hangover left. So don't expect Mt. Gox to be in the news much longer. I think that one has come and gone. I think Germany did more damage than Mt. Gox. Ferrari is to accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in Europe. Now you might find that funny, given that the markets have crashed 10%, 15%, 8% in the last 24 hours. But Ferrari has been accepting Bitcoin in a couple of locations for a while now. They have now expanded it to Europe. There is a demand for selling in Bitcoin. Banana Coin. Do you know what? I was airdropped some Banana Coin and I sold it immediately. Bitcoin, where do we stand this cycle compared to the previous two cycles? Again, there's lots of these charts showing that we are just pre-parabolic, and I will probably do a video on this at some point for the OG members to explain where we are. But at every cycle, we're at the end of one of the biggest and longest capitulations we've had in a while. So that's coming to an end. And based on every other cycle, we are just about approaching the parabolic stage. How long is it going to last for? Where is it going to go? Who knows? Who knows? Second day for ETH ETF, again surpassed $1 billion. It's not impossible. It's simply impossible not to be bullish. Grayscale is dumping, we know, but once Grayscale finishes dumping, remember, the supply will never meet the demand, because like Bitcoin, there is a relatively low supply of Ethereum. 120 million Ethereum, that's it. It's currently deflationary a little bit, and it's certainly not going to go to 5 or 6% inflation, so not to worry about what's happening now. Look at maybe August. I said we should be at $70,000 for Bitcoin by August. That's 6 days away. What's going to make us hit $70,000 by August? The Bitcoin conference, which is happening on Saturday and Sunday. I'm expecting big things to come out of Donald Trump's mouth, and I expect that to have more of an impact, positive impact on the market than the Ethereum ETF. Maybe this bull run will be short and sharp. Absolutely not. It's been said every single time. Go back to the last bull run in 2021. We had a double top, April and November. If you sold out in April, you missed the actual top, although not by a lot. This bull run could be front weighted, but that still doesn't take us before summer next year. We have a lot of things to play out. The minor victory we're going to go on about in a minute, that's one of them. The election, which is in November, doesn't really kick in until March, because that's when he's inaugurated in February. So March he steps foot in the door. We have all of that news to come. We might have a double top. We might have a top in December or February or March, and then we will have a top September, October, November. And again, Crypto Rug Muncher, I would certainly recommend going to check this individual out on X. They have highlighted a list of scammers and what they are doing. I made a video about Solana VM 3 days ago now, and one of my parts of the video was based on some of the comments from Crypto Rug Muncher. A little bit like Zach XBT, they are highlighting the people who are scamming the community, and we need them to be picked up. So again, if you want to find out if a project is legitimate or not, head over to Crypto Rug Muncher and give them a follow. I have no affiliation with that person. If Kamala wins, we will be wrecked. Let's see. Now, again, we've had this chart before, but it's always good to look at these when we have a significant pump or dump in Ethereum or Bitcoin. And this is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. We've said it before, from June 2022 until probably 3rd of June So for 2 years, had you held Bitcoin and not held Ethereum, you would be up now against Ethereum. I have a target for where I think we are going to go, and that is this line down here. It has been on my chart for a long time, 0.04. We have thrown a Bitcoin ETF. We have thrown an Ethereum ETF at this chart, and nothing has significantly deviated us away from this path. I think we will potentially bounce and move up, and I don't think we're going to get to where I think, but so far it is playing out. Don't forget to draw boobs on the charts. I will draw boobs on the charts when we get to Bitcoin. So my target is 0.4. We are at 0.5. What does that mean in English? It costs you 20 Ethereum to buy 1 Bitcoin. If we go to my target, it will cost you 25 Ethereum to buy 1 Bitcoin. So Ethereum loses strength against Bitcoin. However, this short-term sell pressure from Grayscale may play out like this. And maybe this line isn't reached, maybe we reach 0.45. But the point of the matter is, it's descending, and it's been descending for a while, and we can compare this, for example, with Solana. Now, Solana is a different kettle of fish, and it's been doing a very good job of following my squiggly line, which doesn't look like a pair of boobs. But as you can see, from May, certainly from May onwards, holding Solana has done you better than holding Bitcoin. And if we go back all the way to the top, 250 Solana for 1 Bitcoin became 1900 Solana for 1 Bitcoin at the pits of May last year. So again, not all charts look the same. I think holding Solana this year, you will outperform Bitcoin. I also think that holding Ethereum, you will outperform Bitcoin, but I am still Bitcoin heavy, and I will remain Bitcoin heavy. Hold and run long on Bitcoin. Yes, absolutely. Now, one last thing we're going to look at, and that is the Bitcoin dominance. And again, we always look at the same things. It's the same charts. If you don't tune in every day and you only catch us once in a while, remember these charts are very simple to look at. ETH versus Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance, even the DXY we'll have a look at in a minute. And we'll probably go even further back. If we go back to March 2023, look at Bitcoin dominance. As a percentage of the overall market, it has gone from 46% to 56%. This line here is my make or break. That's at 56.4%. Ben Cowan thinks we're going to go to 60%. Both of us agree that when this breaks, we will go into the alt season. What does that mean? It means that your alts will pump more than Bitcoin. They will outperform Bitcoin. However, at this moment in time, we are still in the land of Bitcoin. We haven't left. We've had noise. We've had the Ethereum ETF. We've had all sorts. We've had attempts on Trump. We've had Biden stepping down. We have all of these things. Somebody commented in one of the polls that I ran and said that we should support Biden and the Democrat Party because Bitcoin has gone from 16,000 to 70,000 during his term. And what he fails to mention is it went from 69,400 at the start of his term. So you can't pick and choose your statistics, okay? You are either right based on statistics or wrong based on statistics. I've said this about gold. Gold has been in decline against Bitcoin since Bitcoin came about. You can't cherry pick the performance of gold against Bitcoin over a 1 month period and say gold is a better investment. Over the last 10 years, Bitcoin has outperformed gold. It is simple, and you can use charts to prove the case. That's why we look at Bitcoin dominance. That's why we look at ETH versus Bitcoin and Solana versus Bitcoin, because they matter. Now then, let's have a look at the DXY very quickly and see where we are. Remember, we want it to break down. We want the Bitcoin dominance. Sorry, we want the Dixie, the US dollar dominance to break down. And look at that. We did. We broke down. We touched off this line that I plucked out of thin air, as I always do. And look what we did. We broke down. And we are now down at 104.24. Again, what does that mean? It means potentially we've put in a higher low. If we do this, you will see we could even probably draw it from there. Higher low, then this, higher low, higher low. Potentially we'll have a higher low. If this moves up, we could come back up to here. What's going to happen then? Potentially the US government, the Fed are going to start to cut interest rates. Once that happens, we will see it break down again. So it's been a good period of time for the Dixie. It's broken down. I don't know how far down it's going to go, but let's just return my original line so we can follow it. And that was like that. There we go. So we have broken beneath where I wanted. All good news for Bitcoin. All good news for everything else. And the last thing I'm going to show you before we go into the real show, because remember, all this is all the stuff we look at when the market corrects slightly, just to see if we're still holding the patterns. And that is to look at the liquidations on CoinGlass to show you what has been liquidated. Go to the 24-hour when it loads. There we go. Believe it or not, $290 million isn't an awful lot to be liquidated. And the reason I think for that is that Bitcoin hasn't really come down an awful lot. We've not seen massive wicks down, but we have seen enough to liquidate everybody at $65,000 and $64,000. We've liquidated all the way down to 63.8, I think it was. We're going to have a look at that in a minute. But what's interesting is the ETH liquidations, for the first time that I can remember, are outdoing the Bitcoin liquidations. And why is that? Because nobody expected Ethereum to lose 8% overnight. And it did. So there we go. So that's the early charts from where we are. And you can see the longs and shorts getting liquidated. If we go to the last hour, for example, to see what's happening, you'll see the majority of people getting wrecked are still longs. People will be trying to put in longs, expecting the price of Bitcoin to go back up, and they will still be getting absolutely wrecked. So let's have a look then at the first bit of news, which I believe is to do with Ethereum. And that is ETF starts strong but lag epic Bitcoin ETF launch. Absolutely wrong. Again, Alex, do your homework. Analysts worry ETH will prove a harder sell than Bitcoin to traditional investors. ETFs are off to a strong start after pulling upward of 100 million in net flows on July the 23rd, but fell short of Bitcoin's epic ETF debut in January. Now, let me just explain something here. You cannot compare a $1.4 trillion asset to a $400 billion asset. It is a third of the size of Bitcoin, okay? It is an unfair comparison to expect Ethereum's trading volume to match Bitcoin's. It's never going to happen, and I said weeks ago it was never going to happen. What is interesting is the ratio of outflows to inflows at the beginning, because we have grayscale. After that, you have to remember that for every $200 million worth of Ethereum being bought, that is the equivalent of 600 to 800 billion, 200 to $300 million worth of daily volume on Ethereum is equivalent to about $800–900 million worth of trading on Bitcoin. So do not compare the monetary value. It is an unfair comparison, okay? It's important to understand if Ethereum is trading pro rata at the right amount, at the same amount. And according to the experts that I follow, Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, okay? Outperforming Bitcoin at this stage. And again, in the same fashion that we had with Bitcoin, it is being tempered by Grayscale. The outflows from the Ethereum ETFs are solely down to Grayscale. And we saw it with Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin came down 21%. And then when Grayscale stopped selling, it rallied 50% or something along those lines. If Ethereum does the same thing and comes down to $3,000, we're going to be at $4,500 to $5,000 by the end of August, maybe the end of September if all the traders go on holiday. So a lot of these things need to be taken with a pinch of salt. One analyst expects to see spot ETFs attract roughly 1 to 2 billion in total assets under management over the next 3 months. Bitcoin ETFs pulled some 12.7 billion over an equivalent time frame, and Ethereum ETFs are on track to garner 10% to 15% of that amount. I do not agree. The Bitcoin ETF was the first one to really get the attention of people. The Ethereum ETFs are going to do more because in a crypto portfolio, you cannot be one asset heavy. You can't have 100% Bitcoin. So over time, what's going to happen is these fund managers are going to have an allocation, maybe 60% Bitcoin, maybe 30% in Ethereum, and then maybe 10% in others, probably Solana. So that's what you need to look at. And maybe it's 60-20-20, maybe it's 50-30-20, you get the point. Bitcoin's always going to be number one, Ethereum's going to be number two, and then Solana, maybe XRP, Brad Garlinghouse has been talking about that. Maybe some of those will make up the rest. So again, some of these articles need to be careful with how they are portraying facts. So as you can see at the top there, I showed this to you yesterday. Look at the outflows of Grayscale, 484 million in a day. Total 1.1 billion. But look at the total flows, 100 million in. If we didn't have Grayscale, we would have had $590 million on day one. And believe you me, we would be heading towards $4,000. But if you watch the video I made last Friday, I did give people some warnings. And I'm still going to keep these levels on the chart. I'm still going to keep these lines on the chart because, unfortunately, my boob squiggles, as Peter would call them, look at that. Now, bear in mind, I drew this here. So if we follow through with my graph, we could look at another week and a half or 2 weeks potentially of downward action simply because of the sell-off. If we see 6 days, 8 days of trading, that is still a week and a half to 2 weeks because they don't trade on Saturdays and Sundays. So we should see a retracement. I am hoping that we hold here because this, if you go all the way along here, this was incredible support. So 2,900 is my first stop. That is potentially 10%. Peter asked in chat before how low could it go. For me, 2,600. That is almost a 20%, a 15 to 20% dip from where we were. I'm not expecting it. It's, again, as I say, I drew 2 sets of lines. I drew one with a price target of getting us up here to about $5,000. And I also decided to play the 7th man or the 11th man, or whatever it's called, play devil's advocate and look at what would happen in a kind of capitulation. We've lost both of the bull market support bands. They were coming in at 34 and 32.40. We've lost both of them. They've gone. So again, Could we see a pattern similar to this where we do that? If we do, and that follows out, that would mean that we probably come down and we are back by the 8th of August, which is 2 weeks from today, which kind of tallies in with what I've been saying about the amount of time it might take for Grayscale to get through. So hope for the best, expect the worst. I think that's the way it goes. We could see $2,900 by the end of tomorrow. Now, the big cog in the works is Mr. Trump speaking at the Bitcoin Nashville conference. And I'm expecting it to absolutely rip us, because this is going to be the most important week in crypto until next week. So we'll see. Bitcoin hash rate surges as miner capitulation ends. What is the miner capitulation? When the halving happens, the miners lose half of their revenue. They again wet the bed. What do? They sell all of their stockpiled assets and they run away and they hide and they sell up. Bitcoin's price trajectory is caught in a tug-of-war between bullish and bearish forces, according to Willy Woo. Woo points to positive signals that at the end of miner capitulation and rebounding hash rate, potential headwinds from increased exchange inflows and launch of the Ethereum ETFs. So what is he talking about hash rate? The hash rate is the difficulty in which you mine your Bitcoin. When the halving happens, the uneconomical miners close down and the hash rate drops. Straight after the halving, normally that happens. The hash rate drops, it makes it easier to mine, and it rewards the existing miners that keep going. It rewards them, and they make a little bit of a profit. But to keep going, they sell all of the Bitcoin that they have stacked. That normally takes 6 months, but of course, we're in a different time now, and maybe it's not 6 months anymore, maybe it is 4 months. So what do we have? We have April, May, June, July. We have 4 months. So potentially, Willy Woo is right, might have another 2 or 3 weeks of miners selling. So if the miners aren't selling, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust has stopped selling. What do we have left? What bearish news do we have left? We've had Germany, that's gone. Mt. Gox. Oh, but what about Mt. Gox? Well, nobody's selling. So where is the sell pressure on Bitcoin going to come from? Higher prices. Believe you me, we hit $74,000, $75,000, people are taking a profit. We hit $80,000, people take a profit. So expect to see the bullish momentum continue. This is short-term noise. We kind of expected this because it happened with the Bitcoin ETF launch. I made the video about it last Friday. 5 days ago I made that video, which probably most of you haven't seen. But I told you in there what I'm telling you now. The Grayscale sell-off will not continue forever. They have $9 billion of Ethereum. They sold 480 million on day one. 5% gone on day one. More than likely 5% gone on day two. So they've gone from 9 billion of sell pressure to 8.1 billion of sell pressure in 2 days. How much can it go? They're not going to sell it all. They might sell a third. Well, that might take 6 days, okay? What do we have? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday maybe, next week, okay? Start of August, that sell pressure will have finished. Where does the sell pressure come from? There is no bullish news because Donald Trump is going to take stage and he is going to big up crypto beyond anything else. Kamala Harris has rejected the opportunity to talk, by the way. She had the opportunity, she was offered it, and she has refused to talk. Let that be a lesson. Bullish Bitcoin traders better positioned for Friday's $5.5 billion options expiry. The traders expect a hefty profit from Friday's expiry now that Germany and Mt. Gox wallets have been emptied. An aggregate of 5.5 billion in Bitcoin options are expiring in the early hours of July the 26th. That is tomorrow morning. This month's expiry is particularly important because Bitcoin's price has faced immense negative pressure from several sources. So on Mt. Gox, it was sending Bitcoin all over the place. None of it got sold. Germany sold off 50,000. The digital currency group, Genesis, did 14,000 worth of Bitcoin. They've still got 32,000. Again, it's not a long-term structural change to the price of Bitcoin. We're still in the bull run. If you're going to sell off 30,000 Bitcoin, do you do it at $15,000 at the pits of the bear market, or do you wait for the start of the bull market to sell? Of course you wait for the start of the bull market to sell. That's what they've done. The movement explains why most of the put sell options were placed at $60,000 or lower, while the call buy options aimed for $70,000 or higher. So what that necessarily means is we should have I was going to say a price below $65,000. It's saying here $64,000, and then we wonder why everything is manipulated so that Bitcoin comes in at $64,000 on the day before. Does it make sense yet that this is potentially manipulation? Think of that way. How does manipulation work? Manipulation is very simple to explain. The whales will use negative press to force a narrative, okay? And that narrative has brought Bitcoin to 64,400. That's what they've done, okay? Because they want it at $64,000 because they will make the most money. Again, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This isn't a man in a little silver tinfoil hat. This is just how it works. If Bitcoin stays above 66.5, the rights to buy at 68 and 70 will not be exercised. If it's below 66, the sell options will be null. Therefore, the aggregate 5.5 billion can be misleading. And there we go. There are the puts and the calls. So anything in this 65 range for me is where the price needs to be. And we don't really need to go into too much depth about it. The point of the matter is that we are going to see Bitcoin at $64,000 tomorrow. That's all we need to know. And where are we now? We're at 64.4. So expect some kind of move down tonight, maybe when the American markets open, when the American markets close, we'll recover. So, maybe we see this kind of move and come back to exactly where we are tomorrow. And then we start a new month afresh. Now, Bitcoin is in a better position. Hold the bull market support band is what I have been saying. The bottom of this bull market support band is 61.5. Now, we thought, well, not we. Let's use the royal we. We thought the bull market support band from the 21st of June until the 19th of July, one whole month, this move took. And down here, everybody was telling me that it's the end of the bull market. Go home, come back in 2 or 3 years' time. It's finished. Bitcoin is finished. Now, what is worrying me is this pattern. And I brought it up yesterday. Okay, that takes us to $54,000. That's what's worrying me. Okay, now, it doesn't mean we've finished. It doesn't mean we're over. It doesn't mean we're going to go into the bear market in the same year as the halving. It just means what we'd like to see is that play. That's what we want to see. Bounce where we are, get back above 65.5, and then head up. And again, there was a circle drawn on here which I deleted. This, we've got to break this, 70,800. We have to break that. That is the key to being broken. Look, there we go. That's for Peter. We have to break it. If we don't break it, I'm afraid to say, we could come all the way down here. So, again, hope for the best, expect the worst. I do think we should be bouncing today and tomorrow, certainly on Saturday. I think Donald Trump could cause a God candle, and I mean that not because he's God, but because I expect the news to be so bullish that it's going to rip to the upside. So again, with Bitcoin, not long term, short term, 54,000 is my worst case scenario. We need to break. We're putting in lower highs, we're putting in lower lows, and none of that is positive. So let's hope that we break the trend and we move to the upside. Remember, your trend is your friend. Not until the end in this case. How long do we have left? 23 minutes, and we've got 3 articles to go through. Plenty of time. Remember, if you are new here, give us a follow, smash the like button, say hello in chat. I do believe that Kishan has just upgraded to become an OG member. Thank you very much, Kishan. Greatly appreciated. Update on the poll. 45% say we can hold and 55% say we will collapse. Now, all I'll say on that is I can only put that down to the absolutely positive news coming out from Crypto Warehouse today. That's all I can put it down to. And if you do like positive news, remember to smash the like button and follow us. We are having a hell of a time. Since the capitulation in May, we've really seen our growth be stunted. We were doing 500 or 600 new followers a day. That's now down to about 300 new followers a day. So if you can follow us, it doesn't cost you anything. It's completely free. You know that we're on YouTube, we're on Telegram, we are all over the place. Just go and look for Crypto Warehouse and you'll find us. Now, Solana's Solend. We've got 2 articles about Solana, which I didn't really want to do, but I didn't want to leave either of them out either. So Solend, which I know about it and I've never used it. It's never had an appealing set of rates for me to bother. So they've changed and now they've become Solana Save. And they've announced plans to launch a stable coin. It wants to launch a native stable coin and a liquid staking token and a protocol for shorting meme coins. Again, if you don't understand leverage, please don't long or short anything. And if you do want to long or short something, remember, some of the exchanges that you are on have what are called L and S tokens. So you can 3 or 5 L Bitcoin, you can 3 or 5 S Bitcoin. That gives you 3x or 5x, but it doesn't liquidate you. So make sure to go and check out your exchange that you're on now. Go and have a look and see if they've got those tokens. That's the safest way of longing and shorting. So Save plans to issue a native stablecoin called SUSD, a liquid staking token called SaveSol, and Dumpy.fun, a platform for shorting meme coins. The team posted on X. Solend SLND is up 35% on the announcement, and Sol has rallied 3.3% today. The stablecoin market on Solana is dominated by USDC, which makes up 70% of the market cap. Now remember, this is not a lot. Does that actually take me to? It does indeed. Just to put it into comparison, the stablecoin market, 3.26 billion sounds like a lot. But let's just remember who the daddy is, shall we? And that is Ethereum. Is it got it by chain? There we go. Just to remind you, look at where Solana is. It's in 5th place, 3.27 billion. Look at Ethereum, 79.6 billion. Look at Tron, which again, I'm not sold on, 59 billion. Smart Chain, 5 billion. Arbitrum, 4.32 billion. So Solana is small beans compared to the big boys. But that doesn't mean it isn't going to take up 5, 6, 10 billion in the future. It just means it's playing catch up. Now, we're not going to talk about the shorting meme coins. It seems to be a strange collection of offerings. It's got a stable coin, which it's offering, and it's got its SaveSol. We already have a lot of LSTs, liquid staking tokens. we have Marinade Sol, we have Blaze Sol, we have Jupiter Sol, we have a few others. I'm trying to think of the names. VSol is another one. Again, these liquid staking tokens are good, but there can be too many. And I'm not saying that there isn't room for Solend to do this. Remember, PayPal recently moved on to Solana. They teamed up with Camino Finance. So stablecoins are big business. And don't forget, they are making about 5 or 6% APR on stablecoins. So if they have $100 billion in stablecoins, they're making 5 or 6 billion a year. So it's a good market to be in. However, I would stay away from dumpy.fun. That is not something I would look at. Now, I do apparently have the Solana chart. So let's see. Remember, $174 is the key line for Solana. I think somebody is on the charts, and that somebody is not me. So where do we have Solana? Let's go to the daily. Makes a bit more sense. The good news is we are above the bull market support band. That is coming in at the minute at about $160. So stay above $160 and we're all good on Solana. What we did, however, and again, these things, they are strange that we managed to not predict them, but give you the real indications of where things are going. Because we said in the previous line, we need to get above this trend line and start to move up towards the magical 200 line. But what did we do? We got rejected. Now, this magical line is something that I've drawn. It's not based on any indicator. It's not based on anything else. It's based solely on where I have drawn it. So why did that happen? Why did we bounce off 174? Are we putting in, like everything else? Not quite. Not quite a straight line, but we are putting in, on Solana, we are putting in lower highs. The good news is, I suppose, are we putting in? I think we're putting in potentially higher lows as well. So the most important thing, delete all these lines, there's thousands of them on here. Let's get rid of some of these for now. Let's just stick with these two. So Solana is still safe above 160. It needs to get back above 174 for me, and then it needs to have a run at about 180. They're the targets for Solana. I am bullish on Solana. Remember, it's probably going to be the next ETF. What happened after the Bitcoin ETF went live? The Ethereum ETF became the news. Now the Ethereum ETF is live. Give it a week or so, and everybody is going to be saying the word Solana, and we are going to see this. Absolutely. Move to the upside for Solana. People are going to try and front run any kind of gossip about Solana. And there is, and I haven't had time to put it on the show today, but there is a tweet, an interesting tweet that I might make a video about. And that is about the list of assets that potentially could become ETFs. So I will try and dig that out. I will see if I can find it. And if I can, I will, as I say, make a video about it and let you guys know what could be on the cards. Because there's certain projects that I think could be an ETF, but I don't know whether we need so many ETFs, if that makes sense. Moving on then. So, this is for Peter. Kamala Harris is the front runner for the Democrat Party. I don't believe she's being backed by Obama, but I believe she will be the presidential candidate. And as we covered on, was it Monday or Tuesday, Joe Biden, I think it was called, which was a meme coin associated with Biden, has lost 90-odd% of its value. And some trader who sold his dupe to buy Biden, or Bowden should I say, has lost nearly all of his money. He's got $64,000 left. So, what's this about? This is me giving you non-financial advice to maybe stay away from Harris coin, Karma it's called, because I don't think Kamala Harris is going to win the election. I do think that Trump is going to win the election because he has, no matter what the left-wing polls are saying, he has, in my opinion, a fairly unassailable lead. The middle ground has gone to Trump, and I'm 70 to 80% certain he's going to win. I was 95% certain while Biden was there. Now I'm not so sure. However, this is about you not getting wrecked. There she is, Kamala Harris. And for the record, by the way, she is half Indian and half Jamaican Indian. She has no African heritage, for those of you wondering. A new meme coin called Kama, themed on the US Vice President Kamala Harris, is grabbing new headlines. Driven by the role as the presumptive Democrat nominee, the book markets give Kamala Harris a 93% chance of being the Democrat candidate. Now again, could she be a smoke and mirrors campaign for Michael Obama, or could she be smoke and mirrors for somebody like what's she called now? Forgotten her name. Hillary Clinton. That's the one. Is Hillary or Michael Obama going to come from left field and become the Democrat candidate? Possibly. Could they become the VP? Possibly. However, this coin has run up 1,226% over the past week, a 3,000% gain in the month. The elections, obviously, we know about Trump, we know about MAGA coins. The enthusiasm around the Kama meme token is not just about political shifts, it's also about the rise in market confidence. She's getting 93%. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There is no way that this is real. There is no way Kamala Harris is 92% and Michelle and Hillary are 5 and 2. Not in a million years. Michelle Obama would make 10 times the president of Kamala Harris. Michelle Obama has a level of intelligence needed to be the president of America. Hillary Clinton possibly has that level of intelligence. Kamala Harris does not have that level of intelligence. She is not intelligent enough to be the leader of a country. At the time of writing, Kama meme token is trading at 3 cents with a market cap of $30 million. 12 hours ago, it had a market cap of 39.7. It's on Dex Screener. And we're going to talk about that in a video that I'm going to make, so I'm not going to go on about that. Now, I don't know if I am going to be able to show you Kama, but we will have a look. Tariq is in chat. Mags has said this is not the meme I'm looking for. Nice Star Wars reference there. Okay, Kama under crypto. Let's have a look. I mean, I don't know anything about this coin. How long is it there for? Let's go and have a look. I don't know. It's not been on the exchange very long, so it's very difficult to see the coin. All I would say is, I mean, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to draw a line. Okay, and this is what's going to happen to this coin. Okay, that's what's going to happen to the coin. It's going to be the first coin in history to actually go below zero. That's my prediction. And don't go near this coin. If you want to, again, not financial advice, there are a couple of tokens. There is MAGA and there is Trump. Let's have a look at the Trump coin. There we go. So now I said on my video that I made, the price to buy this coin, if you want to buy it, is here at $5-ish. That's where I think the coin could go to. Now, it wicked Obviously, during the unsightly events of what happened a week and a half ago, it went up here. And I said in my video, do not buy this coin. Do not buy this coin at this price. If you had ignored me, you would have lost 25% of your investment. That is why you don't take everything I say as gospel, but you do your own research and look at emotional trading. This was an emotional pump. This is a non-emotional dump. If you want to get the coin, $5 is my target, and I will not be buying anything. It came down to 566. Again, I'm not going to buy this coin. Look at where we were on the, move it out down a bit, there we go. Look at where we were down as 462. I think we're going to come back to that target. I think we're going to go below $5. Buy that coin then. And remember, this is not a coin to marry. You are not going to have children with this coin. You are not going to get a mortgage with this coin. What you are going to do is you're going to take some profits. So if it goes to $5, I do expect near the election it could go anywhere between $10 and $12, maybe even $14 or $15. Then you sell it all and you walk away with your nice happy bag and you go and buy Bitcoin with it. You don't hold these coins. These are hot pokers and you don't want to be holding them. You don't want to be the last person holding the bag as it goes crashing to the ground. Now the last point on here, we've got 7 minutes. It should be enough to go through it. This is brand new. I don't know an awful lot about this. So I've got the website up as well because I want to show you something new that's come across the world of crypto. Solana's real-world asset marketplace, AgriDex, executes its first trade on the blockchain. So this is literally days old, okay? I am sure all of the big crypto heroes are going to be talking about this. I am sure you're going to hear it from all of the big guys, but this is what I am going to go through very quickly, and then I'm going to show you the website. So AgriDex is a Solana-based marketplace for real-world assets. This event highlights the blockchain's potential to revolutionize blah, 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 blah. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The transaction facilitated the shipment of 200 bottles of olive oil and multiple cases of wine from a farm and vineyards in South Africa to London. The wine is expected to arrive on July the 29th, with the olive oil arriving a few days later. AgriDex settled the transactions instantly, charging 0.15% to each party involved. This is a stark contrast to traditional systems where fees can be several percentage points per trade. In addition to these commodities, AgriDex is also facilitating the sale of farmland in Zambia by a Mauritian sustainable development entity and the sale of bakery machinery from South Africa to Zimbabwe. Both transactions are valued at over $500,000. Despite its multi-trillion-dollar valuation, the industry faces challenges due to opaque and fragmented supply chains, a lack of transparency. Now, let's go and have a look at this. Now, remember, this is brand new. I am not advising anybody to go and buy into AgriDex. I am not telling you to buy the token, although it clearly has a token, which is down here, and it's a governance token. It has a value of 10 cents and it has an airdrop notification, which I have just seen. So we will find out about that. Now, what does this do? This connects suppliers to distributors, to retailers, to stores. We have seen this time and time again. But again, as the article was saying, it's fragmented. It's not just fragmented in the real world, it's fragmented in the blockchain as well. This type of project has been available in America for a while, mainly to do with energy consumption. So farmers have been buying and selling electricity from each other in different states, but it's not really a holistic approach. And maybe this works and maybe it doesn't work. We don't know. All we can say is that this is another attempt at trying to solve the problem. Now, even if this adopts 3% or 5% of the market, it's going to make the farmers more profitable, the distributors more profitable, and retail more profitable. So again, let's have a quick look at the platform. Is it open yet? Can we go and have a look, or is it not open? Because if it's not open, we won't be able to have a look at it. Who is behind the project? Henry Duckworth, who is a physical commodities trader. Henry set up and ran the EMEA desk for EFA Group, 12 years experience. Edward Monckton, 15 years of military leadership, diplomacy and strategic advisor experience, not a bad person to have on your board. And David Campbell, a renowned media and impact figure, having created Shamba, Shape Up and numerous other media shows. Again, not too sure about him. And plenty of other bits of information down here. I like to see this because once you can see the team behind a project, you can go and find out if they've got the technical expertise to be able to pull this off. So the token isn't live, it is brand new. And look at this here. Agridex will use 50% of its profits to buy back tokens and burn them. So there's potentially a video to be made about this one, because this looks like it is brand spanking new. So we will go and review this. We will have a look and we will see if it is worth looking at. One thing I will say, however, is the buyback and burn mechanism is the best way to add value to your tokens. We've covered other videos on here, other projects on here in the past. When you hold a token and then they start to airdrop you the profits from their project, that token that you have, in my humble opinion, is a stock. It's a share in that company. And as far as the SEC is concerned, you are holding stocks in a company. That's one way to look at it. The buyback and burn mechanism, if they are making $500,000 or $1 million a month in profit, and they are burning those tokens, which are at 10 or 11 or 12 cents a token, they will start to burn through a lot of tokens at the beginning very quickly. And that's going to help the token accumulate a lot of value. So again, I'm going to keep my eye on this one. I'm probably going to make a video about it. I'm certainly going to see what other people have said about it online. I'm going to check out their social media. I'm going to look at the tokenomics as well and see what I can find out about that. And I will probably turn it into a video so you will be able to have a little look at the deep dive with me. So what I'm probably going to do today is I am probably going to make a video about Agridex, and I'm going to make one about Harris versus Trump and who is the best person, who would be the best president of America for crypto. We kind of all know it's Donald Trump, so I'm kind of giving away the video there. But let's look at the evidence, let's see what we can find, and then we will move on. So final thoughts, because I've managed to get through the show in pretty good speed today. It is midday. Let's have a very quick look at the Bitcoin price. What are we coming in at? 64.3 still. Ethereum coming in at 31.75. BNB 5.6. Solana still sitting around 170. So not much in the way of positivity. Not many gainers in the last hour. Still plenty of losers in the last hour as well. And there really isn't a lot up at this moment in time. Only Tron, which is up 1.8%. I think Tron's been about 11 cents for the last 4 years. I don't think it's ever moved. And again, small bounces for these. So that's pretty much it from me. I will be back tomorrow. It is Friday. There is no Oracle stream tonight. There is no trading stream tonight. The trading stream will be tomorrow night, probably at 9 o'clock. So if you want to get your fix of Crypto Warehouse, make sure to give us a follow. Head over and check out our socials. Go and have a look on YouTube. Go and have a look on Telegram. And also don't forget that we stream during the summer, Monday to Friday at 11 o'clock. and then normally Monday and Thursday, but this week it will be Tuesday and Friday at 9 p.m. So I'll be back tomorrow, but we will probably not be streaming on Saturday. It's currently, I know it's not hot for a lot of people, it's currently like 34 degrees here. It's a bit warm to be streaming on a Saturday. We need rest. We need rest in the summer. So that's it. Take care, everybody. Thank you all for coming. See you in the morning. Adios.